Hey, George.
Hey Erin, how's it going?
I'm doing okay, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm excited we have Robin here today again. Welcome, Robin.
Good morning, Erin. Good morning, George.
It's great to have you back on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I am thrilled to be invited back.
And it's like a special day today. I feel like you're on the show today because well, we have some big news for the show and then also for Erin specifically. So Erin, take it away.
So I am moving on from SohoMD. Um, so yeah, it's pretty big news. It's pretty big for my life too. And so part of that includes, having to hand the torch over to Robin. So Robin's gonna take my place, which honestly I'm really, really happy about. She's the first person that came to my mind when we were thinking about, who would be a good replacement. Um, she's been on the show. Uh, I think she's our most frequent guest. So we already know she knows how to, sit up by the mic and talk well and command an audience. So I'm very, very happy to have you here with us today as I'm saying goodbye. It is very bittersweet. So I'll have been working for SohoMD for almost 6 years. Um, so yeah, I mean, yeah, when I started out, we were like a handful of providers, maybe five, six, um, working in person in the office in downtown Manhattan, just like a small group practice. And then as the years went on, we slowly became virtual. And then in fall of 2020, after I had been there for about 4 years, I was promoted to a nurse practitioner supervisor. And so I've spent the last 2 years working in management and still seeing patients. And it's been great. And I got the opportunity to co-host this podcast, which has been really, really fun.
For me, it's awesome doing this podcast and, just all the great work you've done on the clinical end in Soho and then the structure. So, you're one of the NP supervisors. I have the pleasure of going from that and then also going to one of the rectors at Soho MD to Robin as the co-host as well. So I'm just a lucky guy. I'm surrounded by, intelligent women, trying to get all this advice from you guys. But, um, Robin, what do you think? What was your initial reaction when we reached out in regards to having you on the podcast? Were you a bit apprehensive or nervous?
I was definitely apprehensive, not because I thought that, oh, I couldn't do it. Like you said, I've been on the show before, and I've never ever been accused of being shy or not being able to talk. So I didn't think that would be an issue. But Erin and you have wonderful chemistry together. And even though I work with both of you together at work and individually and feel I have wonderful relationships with both of you, this is something very different than our working kind of relationship. And I didn't know what it would be like to fill Erin's shoes, big, beautiful shoes to follow. Not saying you have big feet, just saying. Um, so I really was apprehensive, but you both were so supportive and so kind, that I said, okay, I will take the chance, the leap of faith. So I'm here doing it. But can I say a few words about Erin?
Oh, sure.
The show is yours now, Robin. You can
You can
say
do whatever
whatever
you
you
want.
want.
I love that. You know, I love that. But I want to say that Erin, it's always been a pleasure to work with you, and I always counted myself as lucky when we were sharing any kind of casework together. You're clinically wonderful, but you're also a genuinely nice human being, just a nice person, and I appreciate that so much. It made it easy to work on projects with you. I am going to miss you very much. I am an easy crier. You should know that about me. So I'm not going to say anything else, but I am going to miss you very much. I am very excited, though, to work with George. We have also a little bit of fun together and many meetings together. So I'm looking forward to it, and I just wish you the very, very best.
Thank you. Wow, that's really sweet. Yeah, it's it's making me think about how this whole transition has been very bittersweet. And even as you're talking, I'm like, don't cry. Ah, thank you. Yeah, and honestly, like working with you, Robin, it's been yeah, you're just competent. I think that's like one of the strongest words that comes to my mind, which is it's just really nice to see very competent, very thoughtful, and you care about quality. And those are things that I've seen from you, and are very respectable. So and aside from that, I know I've mentioned already that I just that commanding, you're able to kind of hold a presence, which I think is going to be really, really wonderful as you guys continue to host the show together. I think it'll be fun. You bring a new flair that I think will be very fun.
Well, Erin, we've been doing this for what, about a year now?
I think, yeah, I don't remember like
Wow.
our very first show, but when I was thinking about it, I realized time has passed.
It's gone flying, right? We've had a lot of great guests. I've learned a
Mhm.
lot throughout the time, and my expectations, yeah, with Robin on board now, like you said, it's gonna be like a new flair, new dynamics. I think it'll be just as good, but we'll see what comes from it. And I'm excited to like have, we were having so many guests on as well. Like it was just like such an amazing learning experience. I felt like it was also good for the listeners. Do you have any highlights or moments that you recall over the last year in regards to the potting, or just even on the back end? I know we put a lot of work in, little research. We have great help from Marsha, our producer. So any highlights or lowlights you have over the last year doing the pod?
Uh, Yeah, I think, well, as far as highlights, it is really fun to have guests on. I think, we've done a couple episodes where it's just me and you, and I think that that also has its own good vibe to it. But it is interesting to have somebody on and ask them questions about things that we don't know much about. And even within the mental health field, I'm thinking we had a reproductive psychiatrist on. We've had Dr. J and Dr. Bongiorno, the naturopathic doctor, on. We've had Robin on 3 times and talking about trauma and mental health and EFT. And even though I work in the field, everybody has their own nuance that they bring in, their specialty and their niche that they bring to the table when it comes to mental health. And I think that's also the beauty of what this podcast is that we're trying to highlight all aspects of mental health and different things that can play into mental health. And um, yeah, so I think it's been fun to sit back and interview people, and try to like pull out their story and learn more about them, which I guess is what we do in mental health anyway. But it's been fun to do it in this context that's a little more loose, maybe, and fun or funny at times.
Robin, anything in particular you wanna discuss in the futures, or what are you looking forward to, or in the upcoming months doing this podcast?
I think I'm looking forward to actually being in that host seat and having that dialogue with whatever guests are coming on and really seeing where we can take it in terms of topics that we can bring to the listeners, um, that are informative, helpful, interesting. As things keep changing, I feel like it feels like always there's something, something, and we're learning new things, and so many things impact a person's mental health at so many different levels. So I feel like that gives us so much to bring to the show that could potentially help other people in some kind of way. So that's kind of what I'm most interested in doing and hoping for too.
Yeah.
And I feel like all the pods we did with you were informative, but one of
Mhm.
my favorite ones was also the EFT one.
Yeah, I was thinking about that one.
because like I don't know, it's like a bigger thing I feel like nowadays, and I feel like I have seen it on my social media pop up, but I never had a real understanding, or just like what is this thing all about, right? So doing it that day, I'm still tapping myself whenever I feel giving
Good.
myself. Yeah, I've been practicing this. So I also suggest if any of the listeners want to take a little bit more of a look at some of the past episodes, that's also a great one to look into.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
do you practice EFT in your life, like Robin, like in your day to day, when you feel a little anxiety, or whatever the case is, do you practice it personally?
I do, not as often as I need to. I can be honest about that. But what's always so funny is I'm always surprised, even though I've been doing it for a couple of years now, I'm always surprised that when it works. I don't know why. I do it with my patients. I've taken trainings myself on it with people who have much a higher level of mastery at it. But I had an example. I was in my car as a passenger, and I was driving to a doctor's appointment, and the tension of it, I had a really bad headache. And I was about to take a couple of aspirin, and then I said, no, why don't you just tap? So I was tapping in the car while we're driving, and I was saying at a very low voice that setup statement, and I went through it 3 times. And then I stopped for a second and just sat back, and I said, what do you know? My headache's gone. And I was like so shocked though. And the person I was in the car was like, said, why are you so shocked? Like, you see it works with your patients. You see, like, I don't know. It seems always to me, that's the thing about EFT. It seems like it shouldn't work. Like, why would this? Why? Why is this really working? And I understand the science of it and the physiology of it, but I am really always surprised, especially when it's on myself. So I do it, George.
No, yeah. For myself, I started to do it more, and it's better than me just putting my hands on my knees and breathing heavy, and it calms me down more than that. Whenever I have like a stressful type of day.
I think I mean, and all the things that we talk about in how to relieve symptoms, how to improve our overall wellness. There's so many tools now, right? More and more and more, with a lot more science behind it. It used to be, because I'm older, um, when people started talking about meditation, years, I mean, that I first remember, like in the 70s, transcendental meditation was so big. And then the 80s started having a little bit more, and everything was called all this new age stuff. So it was already given this sort of context of there's a little bit of maybe hocus pocus, not real to it. So I was glad to see all the research that went into it, and now all this resurfacing of transcendental meditation. It's I think bigger now than it ever was before as a particular type of meditation. So I think the more that we can learn for ourselves and help others in terms of what you can actually do for yourself to help yourself feel better, it's such an empowering thing. I say this to my patients all the time. I'm so thrilled when somebody's in therapy with me and they're feeling better and they're achieving their goals. But nothing, I think, feels as good as when you feel you can do something that helps yourself also feel better in a really healthy way. So, like you said, George, I know you were kind of joking, but anxiety can be, you know, uh, so big, right? It has so much physical symptoms. So when you feel like you can take yourself down like a 10, and you can bring yourself by tapping, by breathing, by, all these different things that take just minutes and go from a 10 to a 5, that is so empowering for that individual. You feel so much in control of your own life and over your own body. Very important.
I have a question, and maybe kind of relating to meditation, and because I know Erin, you also do yoga and
Hmm.
teach yoga. What's the relationship between yoga and meditation? Like the other day, I asked my son, I'm like, hey, we should start meditating a bit. He's like, oh, I already do. I do yoga, and then I was like, I was like, wait, are they? I know they're different, but like, what's the thing that unifies them? Because I always hear them kind of related or interchangeably used here and there.
Yeah, great question. Well, the unifying factor is the breath, breathing. So, yoga is a moving meditation and it relies heavily on breathing in sync with the body's movements. So, between thinking about your breath and thinking about how your body's moving, it kind of helps you go in. And also, in over the course of a yoga sequence practice, there is breathing where you're not moving, um, and certain positions where you're just kind of breathing in the position, or you're holding a position, and you're trying to stay present in that moment. And the other nice thing about yoga in particular is that um, it's getting the body moving in a systematic way. Well, one, to help prepare you for deeper meditation, like sitting down and doing deeper meditation, but it's kind of getting into like the EFT tapping, points in the body, chakra type stuff. Um, the movements are actually designed to align the body on a physical level, but also there's like the subtle body level. So, cleaning out certain channels and helping your body kind of function mentally, physically, emotionally, um, in a better way. And so that breath linking the movement is so some people it's easier than just sitting there, or it allows you to more easily just sit and meditate afterwards.
Wow, that's wonderful. I guess that's a great question, George. I mean, I've known that too, right? That those two things are linked, but that's a great explanation of how they are linked and how that can benefit afterwards. Because that is common, right? To hear like when people say they're trying to meditate, but they can't get into that space, like
Right.
where they can block everything out and just kind of be with themselves. Um, I know I've tried many times, and I am one of those unsuccessful stories. Um, I laugh, all those things. So that is great to know. I'm looking forward to being able to try yoga for the very first time.
Oh.
Robin, we should set up a virtual yoga session. I've never done yoga either. I've tried meditating before, but I've never done yoga.
Okay, I
I
didn't
would
know
love
that.
to do that. Ah,
Marsha,
I
did you hear that,
know.
Marsha? Let's get it set up for the next one.
I,
She's laughing. Okay, George, actually, I have a question for you because you've been asking all the questions. What is it like to be taking, ending with me and starting with Robin, the transition for you?
Oh, it's difficult, Erin. When I first came onto SohoMD, not the pod specifically, but just Soho. I think I might have mentioned this to you before, but you were one of those in-office presence. You were one of the first providers that I seen in the office, Erin. So it was like, oh, Soho MD provider is Erin. That's what it represents, and just seeing you, from the administrative side, seeing you grow and kind of put your influence on the department and the practice has been great, and when I first heard you were leaving, I was upset. I was happy for you because I know the reasons you're leaving. They're phenomenal, and I'm very, very happy for you, right? But just like you said, the first person that came to mind was Robin. I've had some of the best convos I've had in regards to like clinical situations, trying to help out patients in certain ways as best as I can. Some of the best knowledge and breakdown I've gotten has been from Robin. So to me, just her personality, Robin's like cool. So definitely gonna miss having you on board, Erin. But like Robin's gonna do great, and I was happy once she said yes. So like I know it's gonna be a change for all the listeners that have been here listening to me and Erin. We appreciate it. I know I don't want to speak for Erin, but I know we've had a great time doing it. But I'm very excited to see what it holds for the future. Me and Robin have already talked about, in a couple of years, this is gonna allow us to retire, You know, it's gonna get all the views on YouTube, and we'll be able to just do this all the time.
I hope so.
Me too.
I really, really hope so. Well, any final words for the listeners, Erin, on your final episode? Got to make
Mm,
this very impactful, right,
yeah.
Erin?
Well,
For
um,
sure.
yeah. Just keep going. I think that's my final kind of message to everybody. Just keep trying. Just keep going. In mental health, when dealing with various obstacles and maybe trauma and other difficulties, it can often seem like um, you don't know how you're going to get through it or around it, or what the other side would even look like. And um, I guess this is more my provider speaking, but just hang in there, and support is available. SohoMD offers great services, and it's possible. It's certainly possible if you're just willing to work with your clinicians and get the support that you need. So yeah, don't give up.
Here,
Awesome.
here.
Oh, well, thank you guys. Gosh, this is like very difficult to actually end it, but I feel very confident. I'm just like looking at both of you right now. I can see it. The show is gonna thrive, take off, and shine. So I'm gonna miss you guys a lot, and I'll be listening.
Awesome, Erin. Thank you. It's been great working with you, and we'll be in contact. We'll get you on the show once we get all the big sponsorships and everything. We'll get you back on as a guest.
I would love to come back as a guest. That would be an awesome reunion. All right,
Thank you,
guys.
Erin. Thank you,
Yeah,
George.